The Ramayan consists of 7 individual books called Kãnds. Of that, traditionally the 5th book, the Sundar Kãnd, is discoursed upon first. And in that, there are 68 chapters. We're discussing just the first chapter of the Sundar Kãnd. Literally 1% of the entire Ramayan from last week and finishing it this week. Last week, Hanumanji and the entire monkey army were at the southernmost point of India looking out at Lanka. They knew that this is where Sita Mata is, but they were concerned who can go, find her, and pass her a message that Ramchandra Bhagwan is on his way to save her. Jambavan said that he couldn't do it, he was too old. Angad, he felt that he might be able to make it but not make it back. Hanumanji sat quiet throughout the entire discourse. When Jambavan asked him why, he said that he was handicapped. He was afraid. He didn't know what obstacles were there in the ocean. He didn't know how he would find Sita Ji or what message to give. He didn't know any of these things, so he was afraid. And all of this was coming out. Jambavan stopped him and said that everything you're describing are either physical or mental handicaps, but I want you to go deeper and realize what you really are. You are the soul. You have infinite power within you. And once Hanumanji realized that he had this untapped resource within him, he dug his feet deep into the ground, called out Jai Shri Ram, and jumped towards Lanka. In the air, eventually a mountain came out of the water. The mountain's name was Mainak, and Mainak told Hanumanji that your father had helped me centuries ago. I want to return the favor, rest, and then go and find Sita Ji tomorrow. Hanumanji, he knew that this was an obstacle in the form of a friend. He folded his hands towards Mainak and said, consider your favor returned, but I am not wasting my time. He overcame the first obstacle on our path to any sort of excellence, laziness and neglect. And then Hanumanji continued his journey. While he was flying through the air, another demoness came out of the ocean. The demoness's name was Surasa. And Surasa called out to Hanumanji and said that I have an oath given to me by the gods. Anyone who wants to go on this path through the air towards Lanka has to pass through my mouth. And seeing your size, I'm going to eat you entirely. Hanumanji thought that if Surasa is so big, that the only way I'm going to avoid this is to become bigger than her, so I won't even fit in her mouth. Hanumanji grew his form to 10 feet tall. Surasa snickered. Okay, 2 can play this game. Surasa became 20 feet tall. So Hanumanji became 30 feet tall. Surasa became 40 feet tall, 50 feet tall, 60 feet tall, 70 feet tall, 80 feet tall, 90 feet tall. Surasa became 100 feet tall. Hanumanji realized there's no end to how big people will want to become. He shrunk down to the size of a thumb, Angushta Matra Pariman. And then he passed through Surasa's mouth. Since he was so small, he was able to pass through her mouth and escape unscathed. He came out on the other side, folded his hands towards Surasa, and he said, look, I've helped you keep your oath. Now let me pass. Surasa let him go. After laziness and neglect, the second obstacle that always comes on every person's path towards success is this desire to constantly get bigger and bigger and bigger. Our ego. We are our own worst enemy. We're always trying to find ways to inflate our ego. Just think about all the words we say. When someone asks us in the morning, oh, what time did you go to sleep last night? Oh, I was late. 11:15, 11:30. Oh, and what time did you wake up this morning? Oh, it was really early, 4:15 in the morning. We always give these 15-minute groups of time. But the timings are such that in these frames, we went to sleep at 11:15, but we always say 11:15, 11:30, a little more. What time did you wake up? We woke up at 4:15, but we say what? 4:15, a little more. We try to make it seem that we slept a little less than we had to. We went to sleep later, we woke up earlier. It's natural. This is how we answer our questions. Natural arrogance, and it builds. There was a group of friends in 2011, and they were driving down the coastline in California. Now, they must have had a little too much to drink, and one of the friends had to use the bathroom. He told his friend who was driving the car, bro, just pull over the car so I can use the bathroom. He said, no, there's no rest stop here. You can't just go in the ocean. He's like, no one will notice. I mean, look, the ocean's got billions and billions of gallons of water anyways. Let me just go. Eventually, he was causing so much of a disturbance in the car, the driver pulled over, and the friend went to the bathroom. About 45 minutes later, they reached home, and everyone in the house, they were watching the news. So what are you guys all watching? And they were showing on the news that there was a huge tsunami in Japan. And the friend said, whoa, I didn't know that I was able to cause that much. Natural arrogance. His one going to the bathroom in the ocean didn't cause the tsunami in Japan. But this is what happens. It becomes natural for us. And God forbid that we actually end up doing something good for someone. Because even if we do any charity, it comes at a price. Once there was a Patel, and he called his friend. He said, let's go out for lunch, have a change of scenery. So they went to St. James Park. And there, after having lunch, the Patel went towards the lake to see some of the ducks. He put his hand over his eyes to see out into the water, and his foot slipped. Before he fell into the water, his friend grabbed his shoulder, saved him. Oh, good thing. Thank you. The story ends here, or so the Patel thought. A few days later, the Patel went to the Westville shopping center. He was buying something, and all of a sudden, he felt this huge slap on his back. What the? Oh, it was his friend. His friend said to him, it's a good thing I was there that day, huh? Look at you now. You're able to shop. No problems, huh? Good thing I was there. Yeah. Good thing. Now, the cashier overheard the conversation, so she naturally asked, what are you talking about? Good thing you were there that day, otherwise this wouldn't have been possible. So the Patel explained the story. A few days ago, I was at the park. I was about to slip into the water, but my friend here, he saved me. Oh, wow, you're a hero. You saved his life. Yeah. It must have been that much. A few days later, on Saturday, Patel and his family, they came to the BAPS temple in Neasden for a large festival. He and his family were doing Abhishek of Nilkantvarni Maharaj. And at that time, the friend comes in. Lo and behold. And he says, kids, you're lucky you're here with your dad today. Otherwise, it was a close call not too far back. The kids, the wife, they had no idea what was going on. So what are you talking about, Dad? What's the story? The Patel tells the entire story again. A few weeks ago, we went to St. James Park, blah, blah, blah. And my friend here, he helped me. Dad, you're such a klutz. It's a good thing you have friends like this. Without these people, who knows what have happened to you? Oh, man. Thank you. The kids, the wife, everyone is thanking the friend. And the Patel, he has nothing else to say. A few months pass, and Patel, he goes to Wimbledon. It's the match, the finals. Hours have passed. They've called a break for an intermission. And in the intermission, he hears his name, Patel. At first, Patel doesn't make much, doesn't give him much attention because it's a common last name. There might have been 100 other Patels in the stadium at the time. But the voice is creepy. It's familiar. And he knows. He looks up, and across the tennis court, there's his friend waving his hands like a maniac. Patel, all of this, everything here, all of this, you're welcome. Everyone sitting next to Patel is, what is he talking about? Why is he telling you you're welcome? Patel tells the entire story again. But now Patel's had enough. He calls his friend and he says, okay, I want you to come and have lunch with me at St. James Park. Takes him there. They have lunch. And then Patel says, let's go back to where it all started, where you saved my life. They go there. And obviously the friend, he can't help it. He just starts coming out. It's a good thing I was here that day. If it wasn't for me. And then as soon as he says that, if it wasn't for me, Patel, he snaps. If it wasn't for you, what? If it wasn't for you, what? If it wasn't for you, I would have fallen in the water. What would have happened? My shoes would have gotten wet. I would have broken my leg. At worst, I would have broken my leg. And in 6 weeks, it would have healed. But for the last month, 2 months, 3 months, you've just been killing me. Instead, now, push me in the water and let's just be done with it, for God's sakes. We're like the friend in this story. We're not like the Patel. we can't help but remind everyone around us how essential we are to their lives. This is our arrogance. It just keeps coming out. And that's because we feel that always having the upper hand, being arrogant, is power, and that humility is weakness. The truth is, it's the exact opposite. Look at the Ramayan. In the Ramayan, the most arrogant person in the entire scripture is Ravan. He's got such a large ego that God couldn't even fit it into one head. He had to give him 10. And Hanumanji is incredibly humble, but not even the slightest bit weak. Mahan Swami Maharaj gives an example on this topic of humility and changing our perspective. He gives an example of two disciples who used to live in the state of Bengal in northern India. Now, at that time, for whatever reason, the two of them started arguing on which of the two was a greater devotee of Kali Mata. They took the argument to Ramakrishna Paramans at his ashram, his hermitage in Belur Math. Now, in the entire Belur Math, it's a very peaceful, quiet environment. These two devotees, they were at each other's throats, verbal, just a warfare. It ruined the entire environment. Ramakrishna Paramans heard them at a distance and he said, okay, call those two here. They're upsetting everyone. And he called them nearby and he said, what's the argument? What are you two just fighting about? And they said, we're trying to decide between the two of us, which of us is a greater devotee. And the first put his point. He said, look, I've been in satsang, doing devotion for Kali Mata for decades. And this person, he's just joined into the satsang now. I'm a greater devotee. I've been here for so many more years. That was his point. And the other devotee, he gave a counterpoint. Yeah, in India, we have sami trees. And those trees are thousands of years old, but they don't give any fruits. And despite that, if you plant a mango tree and 5 fruits, you get a mango. It's not how many years you have that matter. It's how much fruit you bear. I've only been in satsang for a few years, but look how much I've given in donation. Look how much of the mandir activities that I sponsor, I support. Oh, the other disciple said, oh, when you got your first paycheck, it was all about, oh, Mata's grace, Mata's grace. At what point did all of that change and it became your money? Point, counterpoint, point, counterpoint. They both went through all of their lists and then they went to the judge and they said, Paramahansadev, you tell us, out of the two of us, you heard all of our arguments. Who's the greater devotee? Ramakrishna Paramans looked at both of them and said, he who thinks the other one is greater is greater. Mahan Swami Maharaj says, this is simple logic. If you're far away from someone else, then you see them as small. And to them, you're also small. If we see other people as small and insignificant, then automatically we become small and insignificant. And out of all of the things, the greatest benefit to becoming humble is the spiritual benefit. We get closer to God the way Hanumanji did. If we want to get closer to God, we have to become humble. In the Ramayan, there are two women, other than Sita Mata, who want to attach themselves entirely to Ramchandra Bhagwan. One is Shurpankha and the other is Shabri Mata. Shurpankha saw Ramchandra Bhagwan and Lakshmanji in the forest, and she felt that Ramchandra Bhagwan is perhaps the most handsome man in the entire world. If you had taken all of the beauty from every single thing in the entire world and given it one personified form, it would be Ramchandra Bhagwan. And she felt that I want to marry him. Shurpankha had the power that she could change her outer form. So she made herself to be one of the most beautiful women in the world. And she went towards Ramchandra Bhagwan. And she said to him, you're the most handsome man in the world. I'm the most beautiful woman in the world. It's only natural that the two of us should get married. So I'm proposing marriage to you. Will you marry me? And as soon as she said it, she realized that she had made a mistake. Because she used the words, I am proposing to marry you. Will you marry me? That means it's his choice. And even if he agrees, in the future, if they have any argument, then he can always say, look, you came to me and offered your hand in marriage. Look, when a man and a woman are considering marriage, subtly in the back of their minds, they consider the other person's salary, social status, who's marrying up in the relationship. A very subtle, natural thing. So Shurpankha had this reflex thought and instantly she changed her words. She said, so my point is, you're the most handsome man, I'm the most beautiful woman. So if you want to marry me, I'll accept your hand in marriage. Needless to say, Ramchandra Bhagwan didn't accept it, and he walked away. Shurpankhah went towards Bhagwan, but she went with her ego, and Ramchandra Bhagwan walked away. Later, while Ramchandra Bhagwan and Lakshmanji are in the forest, Ramchandra Bhagwan is guiding Lakshman. Lakshmanji says, if we're looking for Sita Mata, shouldn't we go this way or shouldn't we go this way? Ramchandra Bhagwan says, I have someone I need to meet. Follow me. And then they enter into Matang Rishi's ashram. Now, Matang Rishi had passed away decades ago, almost 70 years earlier. But the ashram was still named after him. Lakshmanji knew that this was Matang Rishi's ashram. And as soon as they entered, it was as if they had left the heat and entered into an AC room. Felt peace, cool. Everything was just fantastic. Lakshmanji, he told Ramchandra Bhagwan that the Rishi who's running this ashram, he must be a great sage. That his penance, his purity must be so great that we feel peace just upon entering the ashram, before we even meet him. And Ramchandra Bhagwan smiles and he says, you're right, she is a great sage. And her penance and austerities are such that the entire ashram and the entire environment of the ashram is purified by her presence alone. They go forward and they see this 80-year-old woman, wrinkled, wearing these clothes that are rarely ever washed, sweeping the ground. Lakshmanji doesn't pay much attention and is walking past her, and Ramchandra Bhagwan stops and folds his hands towards her. Lakshmanji says, Bhagwan, what are you doing? This is the queen of the ashram. Shabri Mata. Ramchandra Bhagwan calls her Mata. Shabri Mata sees that Ramchandra Bhagwan has arrived. She does his, her ritual, welcoming, offers him a seat, and then gives him some berries. Ramchandra Bhagwan goes to have some of the berries, and Lakshmanji grabs his hand. Bhagwan, look closer. There's teeth marks on the berries. So I know. You can't eat these. This is what she eats. She's eaten half of every berry and left half for you. What kind of a life is this? Why don't you just ask her for some clean, pure berries, not some of her leftovers? Ramchandra Bhagwan tells Lakshman, I'm going to have some berries and you're also going to have some berries. Why? Because these berries are sweeter than anything you've ever tasted. Because for the last 70 years, every morning, Shabri, she cleans this entire road. She collects different berries, tastes them, tests them if they're sweet, and then waits for me to come. 70 years of pure love. That's the taste of every single one of these berries. After all of the rituals are completed, Ramchandra Bhagwan tells Shabri, you tell me what you want me to do. At that time, Shabri Mata says something back to Ramchandra Bhagwan. Ved Vyas has also written an entire version of the Ramayan called the Adhyatma Ramayan. And in the Adhyatma Ramayan, Shabri Mata tells Ramchandra Bhagwan, Bhagwan, Tava dasasya dasanam, shata sankhyotarasya va, dasitve nadhikarosmi, kuta sakshattave vahi. Bhagwan, I don't even have the capacity or the right to be your servant, or a servant of your servant, or a servant of your servant's servant, or if you had 100th servant, I don't have the right or the capacity to be the servant of your 100th servant's servant. And yet here you are in front of me physically. What more can I ask from you? When you become that small, you don't have to go look for God. God will find his way and come to you. Hanumanji became small and was able to overcome Surasa. As he continues on his path further, he feels that someone is holding on to him, slowly pulling him back. He looks down into the water and there's another demoness there. But the demoness isn't coming out of the water. From a distance, she's doing whatever she can to hold Hanumanji back. That demoness's name is Sihika. Sihika represents jealousy. Even if we overcome our own ego, there is something even more subtle, and that's jealousy. We can't accept somebody else's progress. It's not enough for us to just succeed. Others also have to fail. There's a story that Mahan Swami Maharaj, Pramukh Swami Maharaj's guru, Yogiji Maharaj used to say, there was once a devotee of God who performed severe penance to please God. God was pleased with him. And God said, ask for me anything you want, I'll give it to you. But there's only one small condition, that whatever you want, you'll get it, but your neighbor gets double. So why would he get double? He didn't do anything. I came to the forest. I'm the one who suffered. Look, don't worry. You're going to get anything you want. You want a car? You want a 10-story house? You want $1 million? You're getting everything you want. Your neighbor just gets double. And so the devotee, he thought about it for a while. And then he said, okay, I figured out what I want. I said, what do you want? I want you to make me blind in one eye, deaf in one ear, and handicapped in one arm and leg. Bhagavan said, why would you want that? So my neighbor gets double. What's the moral of this story? Jealousy is a crippling disease. It's like having jaundice for the soul. Everything and everyone else, we just see them with this tinge. In England, the tallest mountain is Scafell Pike. It's roughly 1 kilometer tall, and that's big. But if you put it next to Mount Everest, which is 9 kilometers tall, it automatically appears small. In the same way, Bhagavan Swaminarayan gives an example of 2 otherworldly mountains, and he says that we don't actually get any smaller, but we feel smaller in comparison. Our sadness isn't a lack of happiness, but it's because we compare it to the happiness of other people. Our car is just fine. 4 wheels takes us from point A to point B, but when we have to park our Ford next to a Mercedes, then we feel a little upset. We live in a world that just fuels our sense of comparison and competition. Okay, how many followers do you have on social media? Oh, okay. So you have a blue tick next to your name? Does that mean that you've been certified official by the social media demigods? Okay, how many followers do you have? How many comments on your pics? Of those comments, how many are good? Most of the driving force behind constantly putting photos of our food is so that we can let the world know that we're eating something better than them. Now, if you take a picture of your tiramisu and nobody even gets to see it, would it taste as good? The food we eat only has its flavor because we're getting it and someone else doesn't. What if everyone had the same thing? What would you take a picture of? If everyone else had the same lamp at home, would you take a picture of it? If everyone had a six-pack, would you take a picture of yours in the mirror? The fun we get out of all of this is the fact that I have it and you don't. And when the tables turn and someone else has something that we don't have, we still can't stand it. Mahan Swami Maharaj was doing home visits near the village of Bochasan. Bochasan is a village in Gujarat, and Bochasan is actually what puts the B in BAPS. It's the first temple that the founder of Akshar Purushottam Sanstha, Shastriji Maharaj, built in Bochasan. He went from house to house, and all the houses were normal, but there was one large 3-story house. Mahan Swami Maharaj asked the devotee who was taking him, whose house is this? The devotee just automatically, very vehemently started responding, it's not important. He's like this and he's like that. Mahan Swami didn't say anything. He was taken aback. Okay. Not given any specifics about the reasoning, but he didn't say anything. After the devotee finished, another devotee came to Mahan Swami Maharaj and said, Swami, you were asking about that house. That large house is actually his brother's house, the devotee's brother's house. And he can't stand to see his brother having a nicer house than him. That's why he said all those bad things. Mahan Swami Maharaj responded with one word. He said, jealousy. Look, how subtle of a flaw is this? Think about it. If we have diabetes, and after dinner one day your kids start eating ice cream, what do you tell them? Have some shame, kids. Right in front of me? Now you spent your entire life working hard so that they can have a good life. And here they are enjoying their good life. But we don't get any happiness out of it because we don't want them to enjoy it in front of us. That's how subtle of a flaw this is. There's a part of us that actually would like to see our kids suffer a bit. In this corona situation, if your wife doesn't have to wake up early for a conference call and you have to, can you actually stand to see her sleep in? Can you stand to see your own wife happy? Jealousy doesn't ask, why do you get to do this? It asks, why don't I? It takes a spiritual giant to feel that in the joy of others lies our own. In the progress of others rests our own, and in the betterment of others resides our own. Hanumanji, he breaks through the jealousy, and then he finally reaches the banks of Lanka. It's late at night, and there's a short story in Krutavas Ramayan. Hanumanji arrives at Lanka in the middle of the night. All the houses are dark. And yet, in the distance, he sees a candle on in one house. He goes close by and he's looking through the window and he sees one demon chanting Ram, Ram, Ram. Hanumanji's worried. He thinks that one of the demons is actually trying to do some voodoo or black magic against his Lord Ramchandra Bhagavan. He swings open the door. Who are you? The demon just stands up. He's scared. He doesn't know who is this full-size monkey here who can speak to me. He says, who are you? Answer my question first. Hanumanji takes out his mace. Why are you chanting Ram's name? The demon looks left and right to make sure nobody else is listening. And the demon says, my name is Vibhishan. Hanumanji gets twice as angry. Vibhishan, Ravan's brother? Why are you chanting Ramchandra Bhagwan's name? Vibhishan hears this and he says, oh, Ramchandra Bhagwan. You believe him as the Lord, as God? He says, yes. And Vibhishan says, he's my God as well. I have to worship him at night when everyone else goes to sleep, because during the day if I do it, then they'll kill me here. In all of Lanka, I'm the only one devotee of Ramchandra Bhagwan. Hanumanji finally comes down to some peaceful level. And Vibhishan says, okay, so you just met Ramchandra Bhagwan. You're looking for Sita ji, but you won't be able to find her till tomorrow morning. Why don't you do one thing? Help me. Talk to me. Tell me about Ramchandra Bhagwan. Hanumanji spends the entire night telling the different divine incidents of Ramchandra Bhagwan to Vibhishan. The next morning as the sun's rising, Vibhishan looks at Hanumanji and says, I always wondered that me, despite living in this faraway country, all on my own, worshipping God in my own way, in silence, if all of that devotion was actually reaching God or not. But today I found out that it is. Hanumanji said, how do you know? So I have a proof. Okay, what's your proof? And Vibhishan says, you. I've been here for decades worshipping Ramchandra Bhagwan on my own. All of my devotion has reached God because I have had the darshan of a devotee of God like you. Bina Hari Krupa Milahi Nahi Santa. Hanumanji was moved by Vibhishan's devotion. He went out of the house quickly and brought some water from the Indian Ocean. He took the water and did a tilak. He anointed Vibhishan there and he said, Lankeshwar Nijay, from now on you are the king of Lanka, Lankeshwar. They haven't even fought the war yet. To become king of Lanka, Ravan had to cut off and sacrifice 9 of his own heads to Mahadev and fight a war. And Vibhishan, he became king just from taking refuge of Hanumanji. That's the power. This was Hanumanji's journey. He used the knowledge of his soul to take the first leap. He avoided laziness and neglect. He became small to pass through an obstacle unscathed. Overcame any and every sense of jealousy to reach Lanka. If we can imbibe the same qualities in our lives, then we too will be able to find Sita Ji in whatever form she represents to us. Whether it's in the form of wealth as Lakshmi or in the form of devotion as Bhakti, we're all looking and we're always looking for Sita Ji. And then this is the way to find her. Thank you. Shri Swaminarayan Bhagavan Ni Jai. I've gone over time a little bit in the actual discourse, so we've only got a little bit of time left. So we'll take one question. The question relates to humility, the topic I just discussed today. The question is, we may think, okay, how can I be humble at work or at university? People will walk all over me. So it's a good question. The scriptures, nor am I telling you that we have to be humble everywhere to the point where people walk all over us. Hanumanji didn't have false humility. He wasn't weak. He was confident and proud of who he was. But his identity was rooted in something else. It wasn't rooted in his own talents or his own form. When Ravan had captured Hanumanji and asked him, who are you? He responded that my name is Dasoham Kausalendrasya. He didn't even say his name. When somebody asks us, who are you? We give our name, degree, profession, our talents, our skills. And Hanumanji replied, Dasoham Kausalendrasya. I am Ramchandra Bhagavan's disciple, his servant. That was his source of pride, power, inspiration. If we can feel that that is our identity, then automatically we'll be on the right side of confidence without arrogance. And like I said last week, if we believe ourselves to be God's child, and we believe the same for everyone else, then who will you try to ever suppress and hold back? And on the opposite side, there's also no scope ever for an inferiority complex. Either way, we're all on the same level because we are all equal as God's children. Vayam amrutasya putraha. Thank you.